Hello, YouTube family. It's Kelly from Kelly's Cultivated Life, and today we're going to switch it up. We've been talking about getting our vegetable garden ready for the season, but I got a question about potting up your plants or repotting your plants. So I'm going to show you how easy it is. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Let's get started. The first things you're going to need if you're planning to pot up or repot your plant will be a new pot that is slightly larger than the pot your plant is already in. Okay? You want to make sure you have some water handy. And of course you need soil, because if you're repotting your plant, you want to make sure you refresh the soil so that you have some good nutrients for your plant to gather up and continue to grow. Or if you're putting it into a bigger pot, then obviously you need more dirt. Okay, so let's move on to the first step. When choosing your pot, you want to make sure you get a good pot that has some kind of drainage hole in it. I'm going to keep this plugged up for now. But the reason you want drainage holes is so that when you water your plant, whatever water your plant does not use can drain out. Just imagine if you sat in the bathtub for 2 or 3 days. Like, that would not be very good for your skin at all. So the same thing goes for your plants. The roots do not like to be soaking wet for very long, okay? Maybe after about 15 minutes after watering, then you can go ahead and remove your pot from the drainage tray, dump the water, and place it back onto the drainage tray. So we are going to, I have some few dead leaves around here. They're mostly the younger leaves or the older leaves from when the plant was a baby plant. So I'm going to clean those up. And this stick was in here. It was supposed to be decorative, so I don't know. I'll probably leave it there. See what happens. It has a few buds on it, so you guys can see. I don't know. We'll see what it turns into. I like to explore. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and put soil in my new planter, probably up to this level. And so what I just did was I used the pot that my plant is currently in, and I set it at the level of soil where the top of the soil should be, and that's how I know where I need to bring the soil up to. So I hope that makes sense. I just want to show you guys, I have my soil in the planter, okay, and it's about here. So now I'm going to go ahead and remove this. Just going to squeeze gently around the outsides of the current container. Ooh, look at those roots. Aren't they gorgeous? Very healthy roots here. And then I'll just place this down, and I can fill around the sides with dirt. And when you fill the dirt around the sides, you just want to go around adding a little bit at a time. That way your plant is centered and it's standing straight up, it's not leaning. Sometimes when I first started gardening, I would have all my plants leaning, and my husband would make fun of me. So I had to learn how to make them stand up. And you just put it in the little pot and go around as you fill in your soil. All right, now you can see that I have filled the container with soil, and it's up to the level that the plant was already planted at. So I brought the soil along the outside of the pot to match the same height as the soil that was in the pot that I took this out of, okay, the nursery pot. Now I am just going to water it in, and I'll let it grow. Sometimes when you water it in, if you haven't packed the soil down enough, then you'll get little holes, and that's okay, nothing wrong with that. You just want to go ahead and use your scooper, fill those holes, make sure everything is packed in there. Just a gentle packing, not like you're gonna smush everything in there. So you want to be gentle with it, but make sure it's gentle but firm. That's a good way to put it. Gentle but firm, not over firm. Okay, once you have that done, you are good to go. Now make sure if you have the same kind of drainage hole that I have on here, make sure that after a few minutes you go ahead and you remove that stopper and sit it on top of something. Like I use this as my little drain tray. So you can sit it on there, let the excess water drain out, and then plug it back up if you would like to sit it somewhere decoratively without using the drainage tray. Now, today we potted up a plant that is called peace lily. And to me, the peace lily is one of the most underrated houseplants because you literally have to do nothing to the peace lily and it will stay alive. So I took a picture of one of the huge peace lilies that I have that is actually, it's maybe about 6 or 7 years old. I split it up a few times and it just keeps growing. The first 3 years I had it, we didn't get any blooms on it. Then we just stopped paying it any attention, and it sits over by the window, one of the windows in our home that does not get very much sun at all. And this peace lily blooms all the time. Like we get at least 5 or 6 blooms a year out of it. And I'm happy with that because it's so pretty when it blooms. But it's a really easy to care for plant. When the leaves start drooping, that's when you want to water it. And you just give it a good drink of water and it'll perk right back up like nothing ever happened. And when you do that, when you allow it to kind of go into a drought stage before you water it, what you do is you induce it to bloom. And so that's what's going to make it bloom because it's stressed. It thinks it's dying. So it wants to have some babies because, of course, plants, when they think they're at the end of their life cycle, they want to reproduce to keep their generations going and they're all their genes and stuff. So yes, that's what I love about the peace lily. Easy to care for, very beautiful when it blooms. The blooms last a very long time and it does not need a ton of light. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day. I took a picture of one of my big peace lilies that I have, and I actually split it up a few times so it really move. The first thing you need if you are planning to repot or pot up your plants is your plant and a new pot. That went bad.